Welcome to Book Solve, and as I read, I'm reading this book, I Am Homeless, If This Is Not My Home by Lorrie Moore, and this particular video is about me reading from pages 144 to the end of the book. I'm going to concentrate now on the little highlighter stickers that I put in the book, rather than using my notes as well, because it interrupts too much to try and flip-flop between the both of them, and it's not really working. So let's go with this. Here's a sentence. Grackles ascended in a scatter with their weird groupthink swirling. Really invocative of these grackles, birds like crows, and a group of them together, flying about. Would taking off and landing would sound much like this. We're back with Finn and Lily on their mysterious, fantastical trip, road trip. Her presence had always been alternative, somewhat like a set of choices, none of them wrong, none of them correct. Her choice, his choice, the clown school's choice. We know she's got those clown shoes that she used to wear when she was doing her therapy sessions. Though they were moving forward down the moody road, the road seemed instead to be rushing towards them, so that they were like needles being threaded. On either side of the speeding asphalt, the grasses were yellow, twisted, and flat, and on his side, the broken centre line blitzed by like a ticker tape. Blitzed by like a ticker tape. Let's get that right. The by in the wrong place there. A beautiful little paragraph, and there are some superb descriptions of this road trip, of the feeling of it, it's time after time, and yeah. Right. Some of the conversations between the two characters as well are well, illuminating and very correct for the kind of things that would pass between the two characters on such a road trip. I also wanted to see you, Finn, she said. That was certainly part of it, to know you were all right. Part of it? Well, obviously I'm not all right. Oh, you're going to need my motivation here to be totally about you? She asked. You want the whole mournful play to yourself? Yeah, I want the whole fucking mournful play to myself. Oh, Jesus, Lily, you are pitiless. We're getting more and more to the realization that Lily is absolutely dead, and that this trip is not really in the imagination of Finn. It may be that he is actually travelling along with the corpse of Lily, but we're reading it as though she is still alive and still interacting with him. Although we find some beautiful pieces about um, the her body getting more and more eaten by the grave. He couldn't believe where he was driving. The moon no longer seemed to be rising, but in a lunar standstill. A gibbous waxed almost to the point of full. He could not believe where he was taking her. So they're coming towards the end of where it is they're going. She looked out of the window. Love cannot occur unless you are free to love. You have to be free, or it's not love. Here, he knew she was speaking of her illness, of the extra room of the mind that was the suicide room, and lit up and flung its doors open, of the bruising bash against the killing glass, but he leapt in anyway. No, love is a feeling and condition that seldom waits for perfect circumstances. One can love in a hospital, or in a prison, or in a war. No, one can't. Not really. You see his desperation there, and Lily's refutation of it. She's perhaps more realistic than he is. He's more romantic, more sentimental, I think, probably. Don't know. But she has this very fixed, because she's suicidal in her thoughts and in her being. She is, as he puts there, we said just before, she is pitiless, and I think that's something about that. We nip back to the past again, and this letter that Elizabeth is writing to her sister, and we know now that she's committed this murder. It's a nice little passage here. I need the preacher to stop by here and conversate a little. I need him to say daft things and holy things and fix his face into a compassionate mask. It will be tedious and lulling, and the rhythm of my breaths will be returned to steadiness. He will seek to brighten and disperse the shadows in my heart, and his attempts will amuse me and summon admiration, though not much else. I have no confession plans, but still I remain vainly interested in heaven. We've got a lot now as we're moving towards death and what happens after death and how we feel about it. Again, on this next space, this is Lily. The dead are trying to love us, to invite us, and this is the tacky thanks they get. She's talking about Halloween here and all the silly skeletons and ghosts and things that people have to celebrate Halloween. Bigger thing in America than it is in the UK, although we're getting more Americanized as time goes on. And eventually they get to their destination. The body farm itself seemed to be behind and adjacent to an actual farm, as if the body field had filled with farmers who had just given up, wandered over and laid themselves down to die. He could ask her to save him a seat in heaven, but she would just shake her head and say, "What makes you think I got invited to that party?" or some such thing. And the shaking of her head would cause it to twist at an odd, unfixable angle until she resembled a gooseneck lamp with a broken shade. I love the way fixed in here is that sudden turn back to the gruesomeness of what's happening to her body and how it's now set and moved. Lily says, "I don't expect you to understand us depleted people who only see the exit sign and want to head there. It's just who we are. Not really a choice. Just as your not understanding probably isn't a choice. But thank you for taking me along the scenic route." Lily is focused on this need to rush towards suicide. It's an existential force within her life, and she can't deny it. It is her. Human pleas were useless. He felt a little desperate and overwhelmed. She was a hauntologist, a destroyer of futures, dangerous and ridiculous. Yet one always had to hold on to someone like her. One had to challenge oneself, and also, let's face it, protect society, because what was love about if not that? Protecting society from all the crazy things that you knew your beloved was. Of course, perhaps he had got some scrambled memos and read from them randomly, or skimmed them with only one tired eye. It's hard for Max to, sorry, for Finn to understand Lily's point of view about all this. Although he loves her, he doesn't really perhaps understand this drive that she has. "I'll miss your rogue and random energy," he cried. She stared at him with a checked-out expression that stirred and focused. "I will miss your dogged cluelessness." Her smile was a wan smudge, her teeth chartreuse, her hands and neck a darkening cellophane. He could see now she was starting again to have the face of a drowned person, the wide eyes, the seaweed trusses. "You cannot see your life through. Of course there's suffering, and it's all hard, and of course God is withholding big shot. He didn't bother to show us every last page of the existence barrier." Quite a little criticism of religiosity, I think, in the writing. It was something that that Finn finally understood. He understood now that she had to return to him, to make her reappearance to him, because he was the only person who would have actually believed that it was her. Kind of little aside down here. Finn had grown up with a nut allergy, a speech impediment, a crush on a sewing dummy. Inevitably, his life would have had to include this crazy scene. How could it not? Of course, the nut allergy managed to be intermittent. The sewing dummy, clearly not so much. A bit of comedy there thrown in. We go back for the last time to the past, and this dead body that Miss Lizzie is left with after she'd killed the Handsome Lodge. Nobody's claimed the body, so she still got it. She didn't know what to do with it. Until one day, somebody called Mr. Phineas Bates comes along with a pony-drawn wagon, who's travelling circus of some kind. He wants to buy the corpse, and she says, "Well, he's all yours. I could use his room, and I'll give you to him for the rent owned." "Well, ma'am, that might be a deal." So, yeah, there's not much sentimentality there. She's quite happy to give this this body away, and right at the end, a postscript to a letter to her sister. They had a falling out. There was a hatred between them, and I think she's writing this probably after her sister's passed away. Well, no, it is after her sister's passed away. Excuse me. The postscript to the letter says, "I used your ashes this past January outside on the icy stairs for the safe walking of the boarders. I felt strongly you wouldn't mind it being put to good use." Yeah, okay, fine. And finally, we're back with Finn Lily now having reinterred herself in the place that they got to, um, and the last chapter is uh, Finn pretty much at a memorial service for his brother Max, having missed the um, the burning of his body. Um, Finn, the pews were oak and bare. Finn didn't kneel on the bench. He would try not to zone out during the readings and hymns, but his attention came and went. The service seemed to bear no resemblance to the story of his brother's life. This is a common experience these days, certainly with the quickness that they have to run through the services. They don't hang about, they don't say. But Finn gets to say his piece at the service, and he spoke of how Max had been arbitrarily ostracised and taunted and shoved around as a boy, and how Finn, 3 years younger, had watched it from a distant corner of the hallway or the schoolyard in fear or embarrassment and pretend that he didn't even know Max. Finn, a coward, had kept his gaze down, receded, turned his back on Max repeatedly, perhaps to spare Max the humiliation of knowing his little brother could see all this. But no, it was Finn's own craven vulnerability, shameful shame. He was, in countless ways, unworthy of Max and his beautiful stoicism. Yeah, 3 years younger as well. I can remember that if Max was getting bullied at school, it would have been pretty brave of Finn to have stepped up and tried to do something. And I'm going to leave the last two bits on there, really, and finish off the book and leave it at that. So that's the end of As I Read. I Am Homeless If This Is Not My Home by Lorrie Moore. I shall do a review of the book next and give some of my feelings about it and what it meant as I was reading along. So from I forgot what the channel's called. From Booksalve. Happy reading to you all. Cheerio.